What's going on, IPBA? Omega Duck here, coach of the Tampa Bay Infernape, bringing you my Season 12 draft analysis. If you don't know me, a little bit about myself before I begin. I've been into Pokemon for a long time now. Been in competitive Pokemon since Gen 4, and it's been about 2 or 3 years since that I've been doing Draft League. I do all kinds of draft leagues, point system, draft system, doubles, VGC, you name it. And so I have a lot of experience in draft, and I'm excited to be here in the IPBA. So talk about my team here. So I was picked 10 in the 16-team draft, and a lot of things got picked before me, but I decided to go with Tornadus T as my first pick. So originally I wanted Mega Heracross, and because it was 11 points and I thought it was really low for a powerful Mega. Most Megas were a point tier above it, and so that was my plan going into it. And so I picked Tornadus because, in my opinion, it's the best offensive defogger in the format, with its extremely high speed, its ability to U-turn, knock off, be special, physical, be defensive. You'd be surprised on what it could do. And most people sleep on this Pokemon, in my opinion, in this league, but I think this Pokemon can really fit on any team and be good, and it usually is the glue that holds it together. If you know me, I like a lot of pivots with some good wall breakers backing it up, because if you keep momentum and keep hazards on their side, then the wall breakers should finish up the game. But Tornadus, in my opinion, is one of my favorite Pokemon in Draft League. I'm not sure I'm going to be Zing it yet, because if you see later down the line, I have some good Z options. But yeah, that was my first pick, Tornadus. And so second pick, I was going to go with Hydreigon because Hydreigon, in my opinion, is an amazing pair with Mega Heracross. However, it got sniped from me, and so this is where I really shifted my draft to not get Mega Heracross anymore, and to get Mega Medicham instead. Still a really amazing wall breaker. It's a little bit more expensive, but I mean, I've used Mega Medicham in the past, so I shifted my plan to that. And so I got Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini's Misty Terrain alone is why I chose this Pokemon, because powerful physical wall breakers really appreciate not getting status at all, like not getting Thunder Wave, not getting Scalded. And Tapu Fini is just an amazing water fairy. Gets haze, gets screens, gets a setup of her own, taunt, nature's madness, and speed is really underrated. So don't usually use Tapu Fini that much, but I thought for the team I was going for, the synergy is going to be really good. And so my next pick was, of course, Mega Medicham, like I was talking about. One of the most powerful wall breakers in the format. Only really a few checks to it, outside of like bulky Psychics and bulky Flyings maybe, but even then, like Zen Headbutt and Ice Punch do a ton of damage to them. But I really wanted to build around Mega Medicham, having some good pivot options, having Misty Terrain to support its status, potential status. And yeah, it's got some priority, it's got some hard-hitting moves, it's got some setup. It's even got Baton Pass itself, so sometimes I could Baton some bulk ups, Baton Pass some bulk ups to something else, but I think it's really good. These three work really well together, just Tornadus pivoting into a wall breaker, just like I said earlier, and Fini protecting it from status. So next up, I wanted to pick my dragon. I decided to go with either Goodra or Kyurem. I really didn't care which fell to me. I believe Kyurem got picked before me, so I just went with Goodra. Goodra, in my opinion, benefits from the Misty Terrain really well out of any of the other offensive dragons. Like maybe I could have went with Hagstris, I could have went with something else like that. But Gudra with Feeny and Hiram with Feeny works really well together, being grounded, not being statused. Usually Gudra is just so bulky that it requires it to be toxic, or else you're just never going to beat it. But with the Misty Terrain, it solves that problem. And it's an extremely versatile Pokemon, getting the likes of Flamethrower, T-Bolt, Focus Blast. Sap Sipper could be physical and special, and it's just extremely bulky. And it's just a really good thing that I could just switch into anything, really, like going in usually on the special side, but just switching in. Even Ice Beam doesn't do that much to Gudra, especially if it's self-vested. And with these two, Gudra and Feeny, I decided to pick Umbreon next. Umbreon works really well with these two, in my opinion, because these two don't really have reliable recovery. Gudra has rest. Feeny just has lefties. I don't even know if it gets rest. Yeah, it doesn't even get rest. So don't have reliable recovery for these two. And so I think a Wish Pasture was extremely needed, and it makes these two wall even better than normal, because it just shores up their weakness of not having recovery. And it works really well for my team. It gives me the Dark. It gives me the a Wish Pasture. It even gives me Heal Bell if somebody's just trying to Toxic Spike me, or something like that. And excuse me, somebody's trying to Toxic Spike me, or status my entire team. Tornadus can still be status because it's in the air. It's it'll give me a Heal Beller for that when Misty Terrain is gone and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. My wife's telling me something in the background. But moving on, next is going to be a Zelf. At this point, I didn't have any Stealth Rocks on my team, and so I wanted a fast Stealth Rocker, a Pivot. A Zelf fits all of these categories, and it gives me a good speed tier at 115. Now I have 3 Pokemon outside of 100, which is usually my rule when it comes to Draft League, just at minimum 3 things 100 or over. That might be too slow for some people, but I really value power over speed as long as you have good pivot options. And I really drafted good pivot options, in my opinion. Zelf could be a lead Stealth Rocker, it could be a Nasty Plot setup, Calm Mind, physical special, it gets screens, it gets pivot, like I said. Taunt Trick, I think it was a really good fit for my team at this point in the draft. This is my only Stealth Rocker, and I always want good pivots. And I knew I was going to draft some ground weaknesses later on, so this would be my second ground immunity. Yeah, I really like a Zelf. Next up is Xurkitree. This is the only Pokemon on this team, well, besides like this Pokemon, which I'll get to later, that I haven't used before. I know I've seen Xurkitree used really well, and I've seen Xurkitree used not that well. It just depends on how you play it, and I think I'm a player that can utilize its strengths to the fullest, because with a Mega Medicham on my team, it's really threatening to just have an extremely big wall breaker on the special side to complement it, just so when opponents prep for me, they don't have to like just prep for Medicham. Oh, I gotta be physical. Then Xurkitree would just destroy them with 173 basic special attack, Tail Glow. It's really good. It's not as fast as some of the other electrics, but like I said earlier, I value power over speed as long as you use it correctly, as long as you pivot correctly. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be my Z user yet. I know Xurkitree is a really good Z user, but I really like Torn T as my Z user, but we'll have to see. Next, we have Gligar. Gligar. It's my ground type. It's my other Stealth Rocker. It's at this point, I really didn't have a physical wall. I mean, Umbreon can be physical at sometimes. Tapu Fini can be physically defensive at sometimes. Glicker shores up that weakness, gets me another Stealth Rocker, and at this point gives me, I believe, 3 Defoggers. Usually I'm not really keen on drafting too many hazard removers because the way I play, I like to keep aggression, I like to keep momentum, and if you're clicking defog, then you're losing the game in my opinion. You're just giving your opponent free turn to do whatever they want. But it was just by coincidence that I drafted this many hazard removers. But Glicker is really good because of the reasons I said, and it gets U-turn, and it gets reliable recovery. One of the only 2 Pokemon that I have that have reliable recovery, even though I have Wish. And it could be offensive too. I have seen offensive Glicker do work. But I think having a ground immunity, or excuse me, ground Pokemon to have immunity to electric is really good because it pairs well with Tornadus and Tapu Fini being electric resist as long as Gudra. And with this U-turn core, Tornadus gets U-turn, Tornadus, Umbreon gets Baton Pass itself, gets U-turn, Xurkitree gets Volt Switch. You see where I'm going with this. And just another pivot Pokemon. So next, I wanted Steel because I had my Fairy Dragon core. I just wanted my Steel. I was going to go with Bronzong, but I thought Bronzong was a little too passive for this team. I thought I already had a good amount of bulk, and so I just wanted a more offensive Steel. And so I have Metagross here. Metagross also gets benefited by the fact that it can't get burned with Misty Terrain. It can be used like as my 3rd Stealth Rocker, now that I have 3 Stealth Rock Pokemon. It's really good. This will be my 3rd Psychic, so I'm a tad bit knockoff weak. It's not really on purpose because all 3 Psychics on my team do their roles very differently, and Mega Medicham isn't really I would call a knockoff weak Pokemon, but I think Metagross, even though it was a 3rd Psychic, fit my team really well as this offensive Steel that I needed. And yeah, I love using Metagross. So next we have Cloyster, and so this Pokemon, I was going to draft something else, but I decided to just grab Cloyster and a 1-point Pokemon instead. I always really like to have Spikes and T-Spikes on my team, no matter what team I'm going with. I really like stacking hazards and keeping up momentum. So Cloyster, I really only drafted for the hazards, but again, like, it's famous for shell smashing, of course, to sweep teams. My 2nd physical setup Pokemon, besides Medicham, if you wanted to count Medicham, Xurkitree and the Self set up Tailglow and Nasty Plot respectively, and this gives me a good physical sweeper. But mainly, like I said, I wanted to draft it for Spikes and T-Spikes. It can be defensive, it can be Assault Vested. Like, I've used Scarf, I've used AV, I've used a bunch of Cloyster sets in the past, and it also gives me Rapid Spin, which I don't really need, but I mean, it's nice to have, I guess. So the last Pokemon is Cutiefly, and so since I was really greedy and wanted Metagross and Cloyster, I get punished for having a 1-point Pokemon. But I was gonna draft Shuckle anyways, just for Sticky Web, because if you see, my team is a tad bit slow in the normal mind. Gudra, Medicham, and Xurkitree really benefit on things having Sticky Web up. Actually, even Metagross does a benefit as well. Cloyster sometimes, if you have Sticky Web up and you Shell Smash, some Scarfers still beat you. This ensures that they don't beat you. And so I think I really needed Sticky Web, especially with Xurkitree, because of its speed tier. So I just drafted Cutiefly instead. I mean, this Pokemon usually is just going to be a lead Sticky Webber. I mean, it's 84 speed. It's not that bad. Mainly I'm just going to be using it for sticky web, but I guess I can use it for defog or screens or something like Tailwind to get trick, get some cool things, but mainly I'm just going to be using this as a sticky webber. And so that's my team. I really liked how my team turned out, even though I got sniped a couple times. And so comment down below on what you think how I did, what I should change. The only thing I'm debating on is who my Z users are going to be. But that's about it. Yeah, I really like my team. Thanks for watching, and bye.